What's up?
Hey,
Come on.
what's up, Tuan?
Yeah, we are.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on, everyone? We're officially going live right now. Not at 5, we're going live at 9 a.m. on a special Memorial Day. Isn't this good?
Yes,
Memorial Day during quarantine.
You're right. You're right. And a quarantine Memorial Day, but it also allows us to really dive into what the meaning of Memorial Day is all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me get on my live stream real quick and see what's going on here. There we go. There we go. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody right now so we can kind of get this party started on this Memorial Day. So bear with me. All right. Hi, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's go ahead and get this party started, Corey. I put on the headline this morning for you guys that don't know exactly what we got going on. And we just wanted to get out there and add value on this Memorial Day. And so you'll see on the headline, it says, finding your authentic leadership. Okay. So the main reason for this call today is we wanted to add value and we wanted to really highlight, everybody that has served our country and just really take this time just to really commemorate those authentic leaders that have really showed up and showed out. And so I want to give you guys a simple definition. If you guys are tuning in on the live stream right now, type in #live or #replay later on. But I want you to type this in the chat box, in this chat box and also on the live stream. So the simple definition me and Corey Davis came up with this morning on authentic leadership is this: the real you showing up in the real way for the right reason.
Right.
Go ahead and type that in the live stream. The real you showing up in a real way for the right reason. So my question to you is, are you showing up in a real way for the right reason? The real you, that's what I'm talking about right there. Are you showing up in a real way for the right reason? Because that's the real you. Corey, what do you think about that definition right there?
Well, Tuan, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's all about being real. That word real, authentic. I think people don't want to follow leaders who are trying to always be right. I think it's Craig Rochelle that said it, but leaders who are always real. Especially on the Memorial Day, you think about the real heroes, real soldiers. We give a real salute today. I mean, I'm a Navy veteran, right? And today is a special day as we honor those who've displayed authenticity in their service, their commitment to excellence, and their commitment to the freedom that we can enjoy today. We're on this Zoom room today because there's people who displayed authentic leadership and an authentic life that gave their life so others may live.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, once again, so the real you showing up in a real way for the right reason. I love how that sounds because it's simple. And sometimes just being simple is great. Here's how I want to start off. I want to start off with a powerful quote, and I'm probably going to hashtag this. I'll probably drop this in my personal page later. You guys can use it. But here, type this in the chat box. Type this in the live stream if you hear me. Though we were born as originals, most of us become imitators.
That's good, Tuan. That's a good one.
I'm speaking to somebody right now because I think everybody at one time in their lives has become a copycat and operated outside of their God-given potential and outside of their purpose. I'm not going to ask you, this is not a moment of confession or nothing like that, but I'm just speaking some truth right here. Though we were born as originals, most of us become imitators. Corey, let's talk about God's original design on every single creature. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great subject because, quite honestly, group, I've lived my life, a lot of my life being a copycat not original, and it's the true essence of what God intended us to live. He, in the beginning, for those who are believers and for those who are not, hey, just kind of stick with me on the principle here. It's, he says that he gave man dominion over all things. He gave us dominion over all things, which actually is dominion over us being able to live that authentic self. But somehow throughout our lives, we go from this childhood enthusiasm, this childhood courage, this childhood dreams, and all of the things that we've done in the childhood to living this adult life where we've lost a lot of that enthusiasm, we lost that courage, and we become copycats. And I've become that copycat at a lot of times in my life. And when you live in a life of being a copycat, Twan, you're not living a life of authenticity. You feel overwhelmed. And anybody on this live cast has ever felt overwhelmed? If you have, just type in, I have as well. I mean, I know I have, me too. I felt overwhelmed. And here's what I found, Twan, as I just kind of close this part up, is when you're overwhelmed, you're underpurposed. That state of being in an overwhelmment is a state of being underpurposed and under living the life of not being authentic. But when you live in a life of authenticity, you're living a life of purpose.
Oh man. So when you're overwhelmed, you live under purpose, bro. Did you just make that up? Like, where the heck did that come from? Is that a John Maxwell quote, or you just coming up with your own stuff now?
Hey, you just kind of, it just comes off the cuff at this point. But yeah, you're under purpose, man. And I think, if you truly want to live that, what we call a purpose-driven life, you got to find it. You got to find that way, that authentic living, to make it happen for you.
Hey, you know what's so interesting? I want you guys to really pay attention to this. It's interesting to know that every creature that God made operates to its fullest potential. Think about that. Every creature that God made outside of humans operate in their fullest potential. A bird flies and they're great at it. A squirrel climbs and they're great at it. Think about a tree. Corey, what about a tree? I love what you spoke about this morning about Jim Rome and what he says about human potential and how he compares it to the tree.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything's designed, as you just said, to operate at its full potential. Think about it. Especially humans. We live life on three planes. We're spiritual beings gifted with an intellect, living in a physical body. But the spirit part of us is always seeking fuller expression and fuller expansion. Hey, that's why you're on this call right now. That's why you're listening, because you're looking at, how do I express and how do I fully expand? The problem is we don't live that. I don't live that. I haven't lived that a long time of my life, that purpose. And every creature that's designed, think about a tree. How tall will a tree grow? And the answer is as tall as it can. It's going to grow as tall as it can. It's going to get as wide as it can. It's going to get as tall as it can. And it's going to express itself as much as it can. It's going to produce as much as it can. But the thing is when you look at the human side of it, we really don't tap all the way into that full potential. If I think about, Twan, I'm looking at these lights in my house, the source of the light is it's really, it has every piece of power in it. It has, it has unlimited potential. But I choose to put 100-watt light bulb in that light. I can illuminate the whole room, or I can choose to put a 20-watt light bulb in that light fixture, and I can illuminate part of the room. It's the same thing in our life. Our source, God, has unlimited power, unlimited resources, and we choose, if you let the metaphor play out, what bulb do we put in our life? And quite honestly, I put in a 25-watt light bulb a lot of my life until my eyes were open. And at that point, I want to spend the rest of my life turning the light bulb on for everybody else.
Hey, Corey, we dropped something in our mastermind call the other day talking about vision, and we were talking about how a lot of people are living inside the box and can't operate outside the box. Do you remember what you said that was so fire, bro, about the vision thing? Come on, I know Jennifer and Stephanie remember, but I want you to speak on that real quick about the outsource, the resource, the vision.
Yeah, I think when you think about potential and you think about just what I would just share with you, the reason why is because a lot of times we don't see the resources and um, and here's the deal: if your vision does not outsource your resources, it's not big enough. And you have to understand that God gives us a vision, or if you're not a believer in God, well, the vision is birthed within you already, and it comes in you. And if you're not fully resourced to bring it forward, you know that vision is not that one that you need to go after. Go after the one that you're not fully resourced for, and then that's the one that's going to take you to the next level. And I believe that as we talked about it on Saturday morning, we talked about that. Hey, you know what? It doesn't fit in your current reality. It's not supposed to fit. So think about your dreams. Think about the purposes that's in your life right now. You're trying to bring them into and make it fit into your current schedule. But just understand that the dream does not fit in your current reality because it's not supposed to, because it didn't come from you. It came from source. My dream came from God because I believe in God. Well, if you don't believe in God, well, your dream came from whatever source you believe in, and it's not supposed to fit. So, hey, you know what? You can type in it's supposed to fit in the comments.
Yeah, it's not supposed to fit. Like, that's reality right there. Look, I want to go into just speaking about this. I know we got some good content for you guys this morning. We're not going to give away everything because we don't have time, but I want to give you guys, me and Corey, we really wanted to add value to you guys today. Nothing more, nothing less. And because I think the passion on why we do the things we do is simply because God has gave us the it factor. All right, I'm gonna give a shout out to Stephanie. She's on the call with us, but she said something the other day that was so powerful. And I mean, it's the thing that fuels us every single day to do what we do. She says, Twan and Corey, you guys have this it factor. And I was like, ooh, it factor. And I'm going to paraphrase what she said. And Jennifer said that too. Someone else said it. But the it factor is being able to pull something out of you that you didn't even see. That it factor. And I can only attest to that because of one reason. Something's happened to me and I got to speak because now it flows naturally through me. And you can't, now you'll hear me say this over and over, you can't speak from something that hasn't happened from you. But imagine when that thing happens to you, that transformation where you discover your authenticity. I'm telling you, there's not a greater feeling for me when I operate in authenticity more and more each and every single day. I'm not all the way there yet, but I'm telling you, from where I was, I'm so much more confident in who I am today than I was yesterday, than I was a month ago, because I keep on stepping out and I keep on entering into that zone of discovery. So yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for giving us that. We're going to be using that. We got the it factor. Someone type in it factor if you guys feel me right now.
Hey, Twan, man, it's funny because remember I just shared with you a video from last year, and Twan and I we did this leadership game or leadership roundtable with the church, and I was watching the video, and Twan, just to see your growth from last year to now, I'm talking about like you can go from that shift from where you were a year ago, call it a year ago, to today. I'm just so glad to be a passenger to look at you along this journey, to watch that it factor come to life. And I'm so excited to see what it's going to look like 1 year from now. As I look at your journey and I looked at the videos that we created or that we recorded last year to now, there's a certain thing that happened, a certain shift that happened within you. You say this quote, right? Authenticity has no competition.
Type that in.
I mean, Twan always says authenticity has no competition. I believe it's true, right?
Absolutely. Because the only person you need to be looking at is the one in the mirror. And if you would just get out of the freaking way, my friends, imagine the possibilities of something happening to you and God using you. And I'm just telling you, there's not a greater feeling than that. I want to bring up something that happened to me recently, because I think this is a great teaching moment. Is sometimes authenticity unites and divides.
Mm.
Let me just emphasize that on that just a little bit. When you really discover your true authenticity, you're going to attract certain people in your life. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that don't like it when you discover your true authenticity. If you guys can agree with that, give me some hearts on that. For some reason, something that I've experienced in these past years, the more and more I become authentic, the more and more people feel some type of way. And I don't know if that comes from a sense of maybe jealousy or envy, or maybe not wanting me to succeed because I'm striving and doing things they're not. But even if that speaks to you right now, maybe you should check yourself.
Twan, I love where you're going, because I watched that journey as well. And when you said that, it just really honed in on my mind of the I am. I did this this talk on the creative power, your creative power of your I am, right? The I am statement. I think about Jesus, and I know we have new people that joined us. I'm going to throw out my belief, and this is not your belief. I'm not putting it on you. We accept you. You're 100% welcome. But when I think about Jesus, Twan, I think about when everything was okay until he said I am. And if you look at the scripture, as soon as he said I am, it says they picked up stones to kill him.
Come on, bro.
And as soon as
Come
you
on, man.
express your authentic self on this call, I want y'all to understand, work with me on this. As soon as you accept your authentic self and say, I am whatever that I am is, there's going to be stones that's going to be picked up and thrown at you, whether it's yourself, because you know what, as Eric Hoffer says, no matter what our achievements are, we think well of ourselves only in rare moments, and therefore we need other people to bear witness that we're not as bad as we think we are. So our self-judgment throws stones at us. There's other people that throw stones at us, but you got to be ready for it, because if they picked up stones to stone him, no doubt they're going to be picking up stones to stone you. And I watched Twan go through it as stones was thrown at him as he embraced that authentic self.
Okay, so here, type this in. Your authenticity will always be tested. Come on. Your authenticity will always be tested. It's just like, hey, how big is your vision? Your vision, your dream will always be tested for authenticity. Are you really about who you say you are? Or is this a bunch of fluff? Like, look, I've spent all my life giving out fluff. I'm tired of living that life. I'm living my best life right now because of authenticity and how powerful that is to operate in that space. And here's the thing. If you're not receiving opposition in you becoming who you are, then you're not doing it. Because authenticity will come with opposition. I guarantee it. It's happened to me. Not everyone is going to come on this journey with you. You'll realize that. I look back in my old life, and some of you guys that are on this feed right now, you guys know where I was maybe about 5, 6, 7 years ago. But look at the transformation in my life now, because I've discovered what authentic leadership looks like. I don't even want to talk about how I was maybe 10 years ago, how lost in the sauce I was, living by default, living as an imitator. But you know what? I want to move on, because I think this is powerful. We came up with this acronym today, okay? And we call this the A.I.D Factor, A.I.D. This is going to be your first mental aid kit, okay? And the reason why I bring this up is I want to ask this question right here. And you guys can type that in the feed is, are you living life by design, or you're a copycat? Are you living life by design, or are you a copycat? I'm going to throw in a third question here. The third question is, maybe you're living life by default. and I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. And me and Corey are going to go back and we're going to tear this thing apart. We're going to drop some bombs right now. So you guys take notes. Okay, so I asked the question, are you living life by design or copycat? Or maybe you're just living life by default. Tuan, what's the difference here? I'll give you the difference here. Everybody starts off by living life by default. That's what we start off with, the D factor right there in the A.I.D acronym, okay? So default is living inside your comfort zone and remaining average and mediocre. Corey has a great way of explaining this. We call this living the 2D life. Living the 2D life, all right? Living life by default. Corey, I'm gonna let you break it down, bro, because you have a way of breaking down living life in 2D. What does that look like?
Well, I would tell y'all, for those who connected with me on Facebook or social media, you probably seen a picture I put in there. I used to live a 2D life, right? And it actually has a lot of meaning behind it, because the 2D life that I lived, I was living by default and disappointment. And that was my 2D life, right? Because, hey, you know, I've been in corporate America a long time of my life. And in that corporate environment, I've learned to dumb myself down. What I mean by that, if you express too much, you scare people, or you make it seem as if you're not on the plan, or you know, you're not following the language, the rules, you know. So you really kind of dumb yourself down, and you start living by default, and then you get disappointment in your life. Well, there was a decision that I made, call it now a week ago, that literally is gonna that just changed everything for me. And I'm not going to go into the decision, but when I made that decision, it was just at a snap. It's something about decision, Tuan. You know, lack of decision, like Napoleon Hill says in Organized Planning, in that chapter on organized planning, that lack of decision is one of the 30 causes of failure in our lives, when we lack decision. Because you know why? We have divided energy. I don't know if anybody ever felt this life of divided energy. That's what 2D life is all about. You're divided. You're trying to live one life at the same time, trying to live another life at the, you know, and you just divided. You have divided energy. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That's what James says, right?
Don't start
but when
preaching,
you
bro.
make a decision, you switch from a 2D life to a 3D life. And what I mean by 3D life is I'm living life by design. I'm living life by destiny, and I'm living life by determination. And we're running the race the right way. So I switched from 2D to 3D.
Look, I don't know if you guys just heard that, but if you guys are not typing these notes in the live stream, type it in right now. Corey, can you repeat about what 3D life is now for you?
Well, a 3D life for me is by design, by destiny, and by determination. And that 3D life gonna look different from yours. Mine, that's my 3D. And that keeps me on track to live life the right way, living it on purpose, right?
Yeah. And I think also another thing we can also speak about in living life by default in a 2D life is we live in a state of denial. Meaning that I love it, because when we speak about average, I did a skit a while back speaking about how I had to go through these AA meetings. And it wasn't because I had an alcohol problem. I had a problem being average. So it was like an average anonymous program where literally I had to go and speak about how I struggled with living life by default. I struggled by living life in my comfort zone. I was content with being average and mediocre. Not only that, I was a chicken amongst chickens, meaning that I would step outside the chicken coop every single day and watch the eagle soar high. And I would just look and be like, man, you know what? Maybe one day I could be like that. And that was just a thought. And then I look back at the chicken coop and I'm like, you know what? It's a lot more comfortable just hanging out in the chicken coop with a bunch of other chickens. And that's what living life by default was for me. Was I was a chicken. I mean, I had wings. I had this appearance of looking like I was able to fly, but the people that I surrounded myself with put this lid on me, meaning that my self-image was so low that I could not outperform the way I saw myself. And that's why it's so important that you got to surround yourself with an environment that's going to cause you to grow by being challenged. I can't stress that enough, how that has helped me evolve. And I'm just saying that right now. I want you guys to look at your top 5 friends right now. Look at your top 5 friends right now. They say that you are the medium average of the top 5 people that you associate with. What does that look like right now in your life?
Bro, I see Barry Rich put on there, I'm not a chicken, I'm an eagle ready to soar. Come on, somebody.
Come on, Barry.
Look at Anna. Anna just diving in with the comments. Love it. Love it. So yeah, what does that look like? I like that, Twan.
I mean, but let me give you another example of what living life by default is. Living life by default is lack of courage. Nothing more, nothing less. Living life by default is living life with lack of courage.
I think it shows up in it. I think about my life, Twan. I think it shows up in this way, where I want to post something and I just, I'd say, okay, who's going to look at it? What are they going to think? Or I'm in a big meeting in the corporate world. We're in a big meeting, in a big event, right? And then they always pass the mic. There's no dumb questions. Yeah, right. So you get the mic. You say, oh, should I get the mic? Should I ask the question? And you don't ask it because you say, oh, yeah, that I'm lacking courage at that point. Or when something comes down the pipe and you just say yes because you got to agree with it, because those who don't agree with it are not on the path, right? Lack of courage.
Yeah.
And you know what that lack of courage got me, Twan? It got me broke and in despair. I remember going to HEB, local grocery store, at one point in my life, and while the checkout person was checking out the groceries, you know what I was doing? I was checking my bank account to make sure that I had the money to pay for it. I remember one time we were going to, I think it was Cleburne Cafeteria out here in Houston, and they were just a cash only business. I didn't have any cash on me, but I had one of my business partners with me. And this is a while back, and this is reality, y'all, going to Chase Bank. She's in the car because she's a visitor, visiting, and she's a market leader somewhere else. And I had to go get money out of the ATM machine because I lacked courage. I also lacked it in everything in my life. I walk up to it, and guess what it says? Anybody seen that insufficient funds thing happen? That's what happens when you live by default. We don't tap into our full resources. And at the time it was a 3G service. I had 1G on my phone. I couldn't make any transfers. And I look at those I've had it moments in my life. And I'm pretty sure if you had a I've had it moment, you can type I've had it inside the comments. It's in those moments in life when you say, you know what, I've had it by living by default. And I'm going to, from now on, live my life by design.
Man, I'm fed. You know what? I'm fed up. Here's the thing I want you guys to know. Until you see it, you can never believe it. Until you see it, you can never become it. See, back then when I was living with this chicken head mentality, I couldn't see it, so I can never believe it. And let me remind you, sometimes borrowed belief can only get you so far until you have to believe in yourself. It's so easy for me to get you in a room and inspire you and motivate you, and the next day you come back and you're like, I don't have that borrowed belief from you no more. That's why I'm a firm believer that you cannot travel without until you first travel within. Borrowed beliefs don't take you that far until you begin believing in yourself. And that's why we speak on how motivation can get you going, but truly it's the discipline in believing in yourself that's going to get you growing.
Bro, I love that, because borrowed belief only works to a point. And I would tell you this is when we doing our masterminds, when we're doing our coaching sessions, Twan, I know you do the same thing. We tell people, hey, if you don't believe in yourself, borrow my belief in you. And if anybody listening on this call, if you have a vision, you have a dream, you have a purpose that you want to fulfill in your life, and you don't have the belief in you, you can borrow our belief. You can borrow my belief right now, because I have 100% belief in you and your dream. But here's the deal. Without a result, borrowed belief becomes lack of hope, and a disappointment. So the first thing you need to do is how do I get a result? And it doesn't matter what that result is. It's not a right or wrong. It's did what I did did it take me one step closer to my dream? That's the result. And in order to improve a result, you got to get a result. So get a result quick, whatever that is, get one step closer to your dream. And I can guarantee now you can move from bar belief to owning belief. And there's a difference, right, Twan?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, look, let's move on. So we spent a good amount of time speaking about what living life by default is, and it's simply being average and being okay with it, living in your comfort zone, living without courage. I mean, that's the, just to summon things up. But everything begins with a shift. You have to know yourself to grow yourself, and it begins with self-awareness. If I'm living in a state of denial and being okay with living life by default, I'm never going to progress or shift into the next phase of life. And I love how we put this together, Corey, because you guys are probably thinking, this is going to be some good stuff on this next shift, right? So we're going to shift from default to the I, all right? So we went from D to I. The I stands for imitation. I know you guys probably weren't expecting that. Yeah, it's actually a shift. And I can speak from experience because once I realized I was tired of just living this mediocre life in my comfort zone, I knew I had something greater inside me. I knew I had potential that had to be developed. But here's where I shifted and I said, you know what? I'm going to get outside this chicken coop. I'm going to step outside into a zone of discovery. I'm going to be intentional about my growth, and I'm going to step into a discovery zone. But I found myself stepping into the imitation zone. Type that down. I went into a zone of discovery outside of my comfort zone, but I went into the imitation zone. Come on, somebody. I went into an imitation zone where now I went into competition, comparison, compromising. And we already spoke about this earlier, where authenticity has no competition. Authenticity has no comparison. Authenticity has no room to compromise, but I didn't understand that. And so what I thought was, if I imitate enough people and do what everybody else does, then I'm good enough. And what I realized was I got even more frustrated by stepping out, because now I was so busy, distracted by comparison, I was never captivated by purpose. Do I need to repeat that one more time?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Do I need to chop it up and screw it so you guys can type it? Let me chop it up and screw it like we do down here in H-Town. I'll slow it down. And I'll even pause because I want you guys to feel me this morning. I was so busy by being distracted by comparison instead of being captivated by purpose. Imitation zone, competition, comparison, compromising. Now I was stuck in the imitation zone, pretending to be something that I was not created to be. And how many of you guys can attest to that? Appearing to seem bigger than life, operating outside of your potential, operating outside of your purpose. Like, Corey, what comes to mind when we talk about the imitation zone here?
I think, what comes to mind is first off, just such a powerful, just a powerful thing that you just shared with me. I think really what comes to mind is, I think about authority, right? And I think that you can't have authority until you are lined up in alignment to your purpose. There's a lot of talk. You probably heard someone talk about the alignment, right? There's that when you align, you can have true authority. I think when you're unaligned, the unalignment gives you this counterfeit authority. It's counterfeit. It's just so, and it's not right. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't have a certain sound to it. I think, Twan, you talked about a certain taste to it on Saturday. That authenticity has a certain taste. I would tell you this is authentic leadership has a certain sound. It has a certain feel. It has a certain doing. It has a certain saying, because when you are authentic, that certain sound, people march to the drum beat. The problem is when you're unauthentic, You may have it for a little bit, but it doesn't have that certain sound. It's like a clanging cymbal. And people say, you know, just something not right with it. And because it's all the way wrong, right? But
Right.
and you feel it. You don't fly. You know, it's like when you find your why, you find your wings. And when you find your wings, you know, you soar, you go with it. And you can't be authentic and are you know and imitate somebody else, because your gift is your gifting. You know, you were designed for that gift, and if you don't bring it to the world, then somebody else is going to be lacking. And as I shared on Saturday, if there's a gift, if there's a vision that's birthed in you, well, it's already been birthed in the hearts of other people. I need you to catch that. If you have a vision or dream that's birthed in you right now, then that vision or dream has already been placed in the hearts of other people that's going to help you fulfill that dream, that purpose. So stop imitating somebody else's, because it's not yours. It doesn't have the right sound to it. And start playing your music.
Ooh, hold up, bro. Don't get me fired up right now. Let me just throw my 2 cents in there. You guys ready for this? So it sounds to me like you're saying authenticity has a certain melody to it. There's a difference between making noise and making music. You guys have heard me say that before. Is your authenticity making a bunch of noise, or is it making music? There's a difference between a jingle and a jam. What are you producing right now? Are you producing a melody with your lifestyle right now? Are you just making a bunch of noise because you're confused? And not only that, here's what happens when you're not operating in authenticity and you're operating in the imitation zone. You confuse the heck out of everybody else because you're not consistent in your walk. You show up one day and you can't show up the next day. That's the difference between authentic leadership is versus an average leader. Is they show up and they show out. Average leaders, they show up, but they don't show out.
Yeah.
They're not consistent enough.
You know, I use this phrase, Twan. You can, if you run with that, you're all sizzle, no steak. It sounds good, smells good, but there's no steak in it. All right.
This is fire, guys. Woo!
Where'd you come from, Anna?
Hey, Anna's been taking the comments on this Facebook live stream. I'm just telling you that all sizzle, no steak.
All sizzle, no steak. You don't want to be all sizzle and no steak. Come on.
Amen, somebody.
Come on. Oh, that's good stuff. Man, look, I got to move on because I can go on and on. Next up, so we're talking about the imitation zone. So we went from default, the D, to imitation, which is the I. Here's where I need you to go. You need to identify whether you're operating by default or imitation right now. And I think for the majority of us, we operate in between I and A. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know for me, sometimes I get caught up in the imitation zone because I'm so busy trying to compare my success to everyone else's success. I'm scrolling through the news feed, looking at everyone else's highlight reels, and I'm like, man, I want to become like that. I should be doing what they're doing. And God has to sit me down sometimes and really speak to me and say, Twan, sit down somewhere. I need you to show up and just be you. And I'm speaking to somebody right now. Sit down somewhere and learn how to be authentic and be you. That's what the world needs. I don't need you to come on my newsfeed and become an imitator. I don't need you sounding like everybody else. Sometimes being authentic brings out bold and controversial stuff because God didn't create me to agree with everybody.
I'm gonna ask somebody to do something. Hey, if this is resonating with you today, I need you to type shift happens in the comments.
yeah, not SHIT. I mean, who's ready to make some shift
happens? I mean, I need you to shift. That's what I'm talking about, Alan. Shift happens.
Shift happens. Yeah, don't misspell that. And
Shit happens.
I don't need nobody spelling SHIT happens on this. I mean, this is a friendly family call here. We don't need no
We're just having some fun with y'all. I mean, that's what it's all about, though, Twan. It's in the shift that things happen, right? And hey, guess what? We all got shooken, right? We all part of the shift right now. COVID-19 puts us in the shift.
Yeah.
It puts us in the shift, and that's what that's the reason why we're on this feed right now talking about it. Because guess what? You have opportunity to make the shift and move to that life of destiny that you want to go to, whether you see it right now or not. But remember, leaders see more and before others. What are you seeing right now that others are not seeing? Matter of fact, what are you saying right now that others are not saying?
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about with authentic leadership. Is we say things others don't say, we do things others don't do, and we believe things others don't believe, we feel things others don't feel. And we see more and before.
Yeah.
And we live in the shift, embracing the shift.
That's that 3D life. I need you to really start looking at yourself right now. Like, am I ready to make that shift from operating in 2D into 3D? Operating in another dimension. That's what TD Jake says. Imagine when you can operate outside in another dimension than what you normally see. That's where we're trying to take you. This whole call was not only, someone asked me the other day, Twan, what's your superpower? I was like, that's simple. I know how to gather a room and fire some people up, hands down. Call me instant offense, baby. Like, that's what I do. I'm good at it. Put me in the room, let me gather some people, and let me fire you guys up. But I can only take you so far. I mean, literally, me and Corey can take you to the window of life right now, the casino, but I can't bet for you. I can't place the bet on your life for you. Many people live in 2D life and are expecting for me or Corey to bet on them, and I can't place that bet on you. You got to go to the window of life and you got to go all in. I can't do that for you. I just can't.
You know, Tawana, and I love what you're saying is because there's this thing called the law of diminishing intent. Is the longer you wait to do something that you know you should do, the less likely you're going to get it done. The less likely you're going to do it. I remember back in 2000 when I started working on me and working on my personal development. I had opportunity to get free stuff. I was always looking for free stuff, Twan. You know, my company sent me to different things, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I started recruiting at the time, and I had an opportunity to buy a Zig Ziglar success kit. And if you've been on you've heard my story. I struggled to buy that $200 Zig Ziglar success kit. And it was the greatest investment that I can make. I walked into the casino of life at that point. That was my casino of life moment. $200, right? That I had to scrape up because, I also had to pay bills, right? And here's what I found. I want you to type this in. I want you to get this. This is what I found. This is powerful. This is one thing I found in life a while back, and it's true today. Y'all ready for it? I don't know if they're ready to one. I mean, this is powerful. This is probably one of the most powerful things you can think about. Grab your pens, grab your paper. I need you to write this down. Matter of fact, you can type it in the comment. Are you ready?
I don't know. Are you guys
I don't know
ready?
if Jennifer's ready yet. I'm just gonna. I don't know. Gina, are you ready? Because you got the pen. You got the pen. All right. So here's what I found. The money's gonna come from wherever it is right now. When I was in the place of struggle and I wanted to buy the Zig Ziglar success kit, what I did find out in my life, throughout my life, when I didn't see it, I always believed the money's going to come from wherever it comes from. Wherever it's at right now. It's going to come from wherever it's at right now. And I scraped up, I bought the success kit. It put me on the trajectory. I took a bet on myself. And from that one bet allowed me to bet even today and open our leadership company. Same thing with you, Twan. That one bet that you've made back in when you was watching John Maxwell VCR tapes, allowed you to be on stage with Mark Cole, the CEO of the #1 leadership brand in the whole world, the John Maxwell Company. That one bet put him on the stage. Now, did he know he was going to be on the stage? No. But guess what? He took that one bet on himself, and it puts him in this room. It put him on the stage last year, where I was able to witness Twan on stage with a keynote address from Mark Cole. What's your bet? Where's your bet gonna take you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 years from now? Because my bet, when I bet that $200, same thing with Twan, put me in proximity with John Maxwell, Mark Cole, Paul Martinelli, Twan Wynn, and everybody else on this call. Didn't know what that was going to take me, Twan. That little $200 bet right now is nothing to me right now, but it was everything to me back then. And that $200 is worth more than $1 million today for me personally.
Yeah. And I got to add this to it, Corey. There's a price tag for authenticity. There's a price tag we all have to pay to become our authentic selves.
What do you mean?
I don't, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna send you my Calendly link. We can get on a coaching call, Anna. How about that? Yeah. Right
I'm just
there.
kidding. Go ahead.
I know. But I want you guys to really think about that. And I want to give you guys some simple steps as we kind of wrap things up. We definitely have a call to action. Me and Corey have something planned for you guys that are seeking to rise up into that next challenge of your life of stepping from D to the I to the A. And so I'll let Corey speak on that. But here's what I want you guys to think about. We didn't have time to cover that. And I just wanted to really give you guys the A.I.D factor today, because everything begins with knowing yourself and where you're at and knowing where you're going. Everything begins with that. The foundation of all growth is where am I at right now and where am I trying to go? Until I identify that, whether I'm living life by default or I'm living in the imitation zone, I'm never going to be able to go to that next level because I don't know who's going to help me get there. Mm. And so I want to leave you some tangible steps for now. Is how do I find my authentic leadership? I'm going to give you step one. Okay. Step one, I mean, we don't have time to cover it. I want you to really think about this. In the first step of finding my authentic leadership, I have to find my voice in the midst of the noise. Type that down. Finding your voice in the midst of the noise. And the reason why I say that is until you find your voice, you'll never find who you're called to lead. And if your voice sounds like everyone else, you become a generalist instead of a specialist. Ooh, okay. Yeah, type that on there. If I don't have clarity in finding my voice, I'm going to sound like everybody else. I can't even operate being the real me because I'm showing up, but I can't show out because I'm compromising who I really am. I know you guys feel me there because when I show up, I start showing out now because this is really who I am. And I know you guys can feel me there. A lot of you guys have been in the same rooms with me and you're like, gosh, like, where does that come? It's because I'm passionate and I'm convicted of who I am today versus who I was trying to become a year ago. But there was a price tag I had to pay in entering into that zone. So I want to ask you right now, are you operating in that zone right now? Okay, so first off, okay, finding your voice in the midst of noise, 3 points. What's your message? What's your message? Vision will unite and divide. What's your why? I need to know why you do the things you do. How many times have you asked somebody that question there? Hey, Anna, why do you do the things you do? Adam, why do you do the things you do? Because here's what I've learned through personal branding is stories make music out of noise. Stories make music out of noise. Are you telling the right story? Everything begins with connecting with your people through common ground. We impress people with our success all the time. I'm looking for you to impact me through your failures. How's your pain points connected to me directly? Because that's what I want to know. I don't need you to be a perfect leader. I need you to be an authentic leader. How do I connect as an authentic leader? Share your story. Okay. And my last point on finding your voice in the midst of the noise is, what kind of results are you accomplishing? What kind of results have you achieved in the midst of finding your voice? And let's be honest, if you don't have credibility in the front end, use your communication. It's okay to say that I don't have it all together, but that speaks more volumes than you trying to become something that you're not, or you trying to appear to be something that you're not. Because what we're looking at is, how do I build a like, know, and trust with my people? Zig Ziglar says, hey, if people like you, Samantha, they'll listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. Corey, you said something about that in a video. If they do business with you, what did you say?
You talk about the know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. If they know, if they have no, like, and trust with you, they're gonna walk along that path with you. Your people are doing the same thing. Do you know me? Do you like me? Do you trust me? Right. But here's what I will tell you too: is that as we think about how does this play out in our lives, people don't pay for average, y'all. So when Twan talked about what's your result, what's your why, what's your voice, they're not going to pay for average. And you know, we're learning that throughout the process. This is not something that we can say, hey, we are the teachers of this. We learned everything about it. But what I could tell you is, along this journey, the ups and downs, we found that people don't pay for average, and you can't excel out of average if you're not with your own voice. If you don't have your own voice, if you don't have a why behind what you do, and you don't have a result, because at the end of the day, results matter. You know, innovation is rewarded. Ideas are rewarded all day long, but execution is worshiped. And you can't execute if you don't have those three things. So our intent is to help you execute better, help you execute on your dreams, your desires, your hopes, your future, because we're in a manufacturing business. It's what Juan and I will joke with people. Hey, what do you do? We manufacture. Well, what do you manufacture? We manufacture leaders. We're in the manufacturing business, and part of that, if I'm in a manufacturing business, and if I think of it as we have a construction company, we're here to help you construct your dreams, your vision, your goals, because we have 100% belief in it, and you know, because we want to be part of that group that walks alongside you to help you, to be there for you. And that's the true essence of what we do. And you know, and I love doing we love doing what we do. If you can't feel the energy and the passion about it, I mean, hey, check your pulse, right? Because that's what it's all about. I mean, hey, this is what matters. You know, we want to make a difference with people who make a difference, doing something that makes a difference at a time that makes a difference. And the time is now. The time is now.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up right now in the next minute or so. Corey, what do we have planned? So we decided we're gonna do a complimentary masterclass. Corey, I know you're working with that. What's the call to action right now with everyone on the call?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a link in both the Facebook live stream and also with the chat in our group right now. What that's going to do, for one, we want to provide you a free resource on 5 ways to increase that, you know, your ability to do more. And just simply click the link. You can download the resource. It's yours. The next thing is what Twan and I want to do is we want to do a free masterclass. All right. That first masterclass is going to be how to make the shift and why it's important to make the shift. Right. And we're going to be utilizing from the backdrop of of Leader Shift by John Maxwell. We currently have a group of Leader Shift. We have some of the shifters in here in our group right now that's on this Zoom. And I'll tell you right now, you know, hey, if you're on our Zoom meeting of leadership and it's making shift happen in your life right now, go ahead and raise your hands. Matter of fact, raise both of your hands so people can see you, right? And that's what it's all about. You know, we're making it happen on that group, and we want to continue to provide that for everybody else, Twan. And then some of them have taken their team with them. And that's the most important piece, because if you really want to, you know, when the starter pistol goes off, I talked about this back in April, when the starter pistol goes off and everything goes back and starts, because we're not gonna go back to normal, but when everything starts, there's gonna be people that walk across the line. There's gonna be, quite honestly, people that fall across the line. And there's gonna be people who have been in a slingshot for the last couple of weeks, who's gonna propel and shoot across that starting line and pass up everybody. And that's where I want to be. That's where I want the people that run with me to be, is those who propel. So yeah, we're gonna put on a free masterclass, but this will actually get you within the system, so you can be on our email list, and we can email that information to you. So hey, just click the link, you know, and get on there, get the free resource. I guarantee that free resource that we have prepared for you is going to give you 5 ways to start moving towards making this shift happen in your life.
Yeah, I got a question right here. How can I have access to the class by Sandry? So good thing you asked. Good thing you asked. And that's right there is what we wanted. Because here's the thing. Not everyone's going to come on this journey with you. Let's get real. Not everyone's willing to go to that next level with you. A lot of people are just content with living the 2D life. But here's the thing. John Maxwell says that change is inevitable. Whether you want to change now or you want to change later, you will change. The question is, do we have to drag you?
Yeah, I think it's either you can be led by the feather or led by the 2x4, is what John, the way that John put it. And I quite honestly, y'all, I got tired of getting led by the 2x4. The 2x4 life, that the 2x4 leadership does not work. Okay, it doesn't work for me. I mean, you end up with bumps and bruises, failures, fault, you know, all these faults. Hey, just make the shift. The shift is happening. You know, I love the first thing we're going to talk about. I know we talk about this in that first masterclass, is Thomas Edgley's quote, "Change or die." Change or die. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think you can live it like that. Either change or die. Change or become irrelevant. Because the problem is, if you're still working on things that worked yesterday and talking about the stuff that's worked yesterday, and not talking about what's going to get you to the next level, get your company to the next level, get your organization to the next level, you're becoming irrelevant in people's minds right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, don't become irrelevant. Change now, make the shift now, and live the life of a better future. I mean, I think that's the simplest way I can put it.
Yeah. Hey, look, so let me just kind of emphasize on this. I answered a question there as how do I gain access to this masterclass? Look, just type in shift happens, and that will let me and Corey know to reach out to you with a personalized link for the upcoming masterclass. It's going to be, I think we're going to do it on June 1st.
Yep. Yeah,
so just type in shift happens if you want access to our upcoming free masterclass. Shift happens, SHIFT. Don't forget the F in the shift, okay? I know some people don't have spell check on this live stream, so just make sure you spell the right word, because I might miss you. Okay. But hey, we're gonna wrap it up right now. Corey, 5 minutes for takeaways, and then we'll wrap it up.
If you want to open it up for the group, I think it'll be great to hear from the group. Anything that you want to take away. Hey, here's the one thing that I'm going to take from this call to make the shift happen for me. And anybody want to chime in, especially if I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're one of the, I call it 1, 2, 3, 4 people that's on here, 5 people that's on here that's part of our leader shift group right now, and you can share with them, hey, where was my mindset before? Where's my mindset right now, and why should somebody else take the shift as well with
Look, hey, look, and they're in a 90-day group coaching program that we have, and they're only in week like 4. Okay, you guys are only in week 4. I'm gonna call you guys the shift makers, not the shift makers. Okay, but let's hear your thoughts. Yeah, you guys are cracking up right now. I know one of you guys on the live stream are hoping that I say the S word right now.
But that's what we do, Troy. We have fun, all right?
Guess what?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
You
ahead.
want me to say the S word?
Go ahead.
Right now?
No. Oh, I'm saying go ahead, Samantha, to tell her story. Let's move off of Troy.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to lose my salvation. I got a reputation.
Come on now. I'm a troublemaker. Shit happens. Yes, it does.
So, hey, you want to tell us a little bit about the group, Samantha, just real quick?
Don't get so sensitive. Come on, guys. Come on, everybody. Lighten up. It's okay. We're going to survive here. Right. But it does. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that, goodness gracious, you guys said so many things. I was like in ouch mode. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But it was a good, it was a good hurt. I have to honestly say, because I am in the place where I don't want to be an imitator, but I have to be really honest with myself and saying, you know what, I'm guilty of looking at everybody else and trying to do what somebody else is doing, because when you've never trailblazed, you don't know how to do it. Because it's like, you don't know, how do I become comfortable in my own skin? It is discovering, and you really do have to be taught. It's like finding the right voice or finding the right, the other day I put something on my thing. Being in leadership has really helped me realizing that I needed an outer circle. And that's why I posted this. I shared it because I want people to see my outer circle. I love my inner circle, but they won't challenge me. My inner circle won't challenge me, because they don't know how. It's not that they don't want to, but, and being in leadership is causing me to get more and more comfortable to embrace my own pain, and then know how to lead from that, knowing how to share it authentically.
Wow. Appreciate that, Sam. Thank you for that.
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Come on, Anna.
All right. So first of all, Corey, you had me at steak. Oh my gosh. All sizzle and no steak. Holy crap. I am going to use that one just to let you know.
It's yours.
No, but I definitely wanted to share with you guys. One thing about authenticity is that when you find your true authentic why is when you actually start to move. Some people can operate on borrowed whys. And I like what Corey was saying on that is when someone helps you establish your why, it's really not your authentic why. Your why will never happen in front of someone. And I want you guys to know that your why is going to happen only with you. It's like when you sit your butt down on that chair and you really find who you really truly are with no one around. It's when you really stand up for yourself. And that's when you really start to accomplish and start to really see what it is that you really want to do. What do you want to accomplish in life? For what? For who? And you go out and you do it. And you stop measuring. When you get to this point, you stop measuring the money in your bank account. So now your vision becomes greater, because a lot of people operate from the money in their bank account. So they keep looking at their budget, and then it's like, and I'm telling you guys, because this was me. I would operate from the money I had in my bank account. And the less I worry about it now, is my true authentic self comes out flourishing. That's why I'm able to connect with so many different people that are extremely smarter than I am. And we're able to collaborate and grow as a team. And so that's what I really wanted to share with you guys today, is just to try to find your authentic why, because even when you discover your why, you can find out that it was not authentic to begin with.
So good.
Oh my God. Hey, you know what I thought about, Corey, when Anna spoke? And I love her energy and her passion behind what she does. She's like a master connector. And just kudos to you, Anna, for all that you're doing and just impacting lives. She's doing some phenomenal stuff. I'm not going to go into detail on like, what she's actually doing, but, I'm just glad to be connected with you, Anna, and just partnering up side by side with you with the team that is evolving right now. So, I'll talk about that on another time. But I thought about something when you speak about the word branding, I want to ask you guys two questions right now. Is what are people saying about you? And what should people be saying about you? Right? And I'm saying because a lot of times we operate in scarcity and it's so focused on making dollars, we're not authentic no more. And at the end of the day, here's what I want you guys to really think about. Is what I want people to say about me is I'm a person of value. Yeah. Because that's going to take you so far in how you brand yourself. Because at the end of the day, I want to be known as that person that creates impact. I want to be known as that person that creates value. So that's just some food for thought for you guys. Next up, anybody else want to share their takeaways? Some of you guys, this is the first call that you guys been on. We'll wrap it up in a few more minutes, but I just want to give some time for you guys to just share what was so powerful about this call this morning and how did it speak to you?
I'll share, Twan. So I'm totally fired up over here. I'm doing everything I can to just be quiet and calm. But, one of the things that really, really stood out, you said, find your voice in the midst of the noise. I mean, that just really, it speaks volumes. And not just that, in the process of taking this, I mean, my vision has gotten more clear, my purpose. Why am I here? Not just why, but where I'm actually going and how I'm going to get there. And the impact, making a major or better impact on others. So, you guys have really done a great job of teaching us. It's not about just you, who you're going to bring along with you, and then you can't share your vision if your own vision is fuzzy. You got to have clarity. You have to know where you're going in order to bring someone else. So, I mean, that being an authentic leader to me just says it all. It makes you analyze your own self. And once you do that, but it's good to have the right leader. You can't just have a leader. You have to have the right leaders, and that is one of the most important things, is having the right leader. So thank you guys, because I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time for the right reason.
Come on, look at that. That's what you call building retention right there. She's verbalizing and visualizing. Hey, let me add this, Stephanie, too. Here's the thing. In order to find the right leader, you have to first identify what leadership looks like. That's the problem, is I can't identify what leadership looks like, and I can't model that in my own life. And so how's that affecting everyone else around me? Everything rises and falls on leadership. If I can't identify what a great leader looks like, how will I become a great leader myself? And not only that, how will I attract the right people in my life because I don't have that example in my life? Who you learn from matters.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we share is who you learn from is equally as important as what you learn. And we appreciate you, Stephanie. We appreciate, Sarah, who's taking the journey, Jennifer, Samantha, John, all of you all who's taking the journey, because our intent is to put you 1 degree, 2 degrees closer to the #1 leadership brand in the world. Because we're personally mentored by Mark Cole, the CEO of the John Maxwell Company, Paul Martinelli, executive now with John now. He owns the John Maxwell team and just an extraordinary business person. He was the #1 coaching guru of 2018. If you want to know who Paul is, that's our mentor. So, and we're saying that is because who you learn from is equally as important of what you learn. We're learning from these folks in the industry and giving it to the people who are in our groups, because they taught us how to give, so we give it. You know, we're giving people. We're here to share the wealth, share the knowledge with you, and we believe that when we raise the sea level, all ships raise up, right? That's how we truly impact the world with transformational leadership, and that's our intent. And when we do these free master classes, just know that they're free, but don't treat them as free. You got to understand, we're bringing a lot of experience to the table, and I'm not free. I'll tell you that right now. And then here's what I'll tell you too, is when we go on the journey's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to be in the room. As a matter of fact, I would tell you that we don't want everybody in the room. We want the right people in the room.
Ouch.
And I'm not saying that I'm sharing that because I want you to know that you're going to be in a room with some great people, and we want to make sure the energy of the room stays the right way. And that's critically important. And our Saturday morning crew can attest to that we've been on fire for the last couple of Saturdays, and we want to make sure that fire continues. Well, we'll make that fire can happen on a Monday night as well. So we don't work with everybody because we believe business should be fun. You may not gel with us. We may not gel with you, and that's okay. We can point you to someone who can do that maybe work well with you, because we want you to have the right experience. That's the most important thing. I'm not here money is not the issue here. It's about you having the right experience. Our clients need to have the right experience, because if we're not able to exceed your expectations, we don't do it, because we don't do average. Either do it the right way or don't do it. I mean, that's what we believe, and that's what I believe, and that's what my company, Empire Leadership, if you look at our values, that's what we built on.
Yeah. Hey, I couldn't say it better than that. Anyway, here's what I want to leave you guys with as we wrap up the call. People don't pay for average. People don't pay for average. I need you to really find your strength zone and get out of your weak zone, because people don't buy into average. And so if you're competing in a market where you don't have a competitive advantage outside of your authenticity, I need you to get out, because people don't buy into average. And you can't compete in an area where others are better than you because you're operating outside of your strength zone.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. Get out of my lane. Samantha, get out of my lane. Gina, get out of my lane. I need you to get in your own lane. All right. But hey, I want to wrap it up. Thank you so much, you guys, for just jumping on the call with us. We're going to connect with everyone that typed in Shift Happens on this call. And we're going to personally reach out to you guys, because I want to see who wants to be in the room.
I have a quick question. If somebody put in the comments of the party, because I did a watch party. I'm sure y'all heard it. I was trying to turn it off and I couldn't.
So yeah, what happened?
But if somebody's watching from my page and they type it in the comments from the watch party, it's not part of the live.
Send it to us. If you run the watch party, just send it to Twan and I, and we'll put their names down. I've tried to log everybody's name so far. That way we can just send it to you. We'll send it directly to you. But also at the same time, click that link. That way you'll get on every list that we have, so you'll know what we're doing and when we're doing it.
Yeah, I saved the chat in this room too, and I'm pretty sure everybody said Shift Happens here. I think there was one person that just actually said, that was Samantha. She actually said the cuss word on our live stream. May God forgive you, Samantha. I'm just kidding. Hey, that's what we do. We're about having fun. Like, if we're not having fun on this journey, like, why do it?
No doubt, bro. That's right. What we all about, y'all.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you guys have a wonderful Memorial Day. Thank you to everyone that joined on the live stream and that has served our country. We love you guys so much.
It's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We appreciate it.